If you live in middle or eastern Tennessee, maybe northern Georgia, western North and South Carolina, uh, southern parts of Virginia and Kentucky, and you have never been to Smoky Mountain Knife Works, you are really missing out on something cool. Those of you who have been, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's known probably most famously for being the world's largest knife store. And it's pretty overwhelming the first time you walk in. But I mean that in a good way. The attitude of the folks working at Smoky Mountain Knife Works is incredible. They're some of the most friendly, helpful folks you'll probably ever encounter in any, not just knife shop, but outdoor shop, period. And that's kind of part of what makes Smoky Mountain Knife Works so much fun to visit. It's not just knives. Yeah, that's the majority of what they are there to sell, obviously. But a lot of neat gear. A lot of neat stuff. My wife and I took a trip to Pigeon Forge a couple days ago. It was a Sunday, about 1 o'clock, and it was beautiful weather, so we just decided to go for a ride. And I thought, well, if we're going through Pigeon Forge, I'm definitely stopping at the Knife Works. And my wife, I'm very blessed. It doesn't really take any convincing her to let me go. She's always pretty excited and pretty willing to come in with me and look around. And actually, part of why I wanted to make this video was because of something that happened that really surprised me while we were there. So, at any rate, we left about 1 o'clock. Takes us maybe about 90 minutes from where we are to get to the Pigeon Forge area. So it's pretty close to us. We go usually Pigeon Forge, sometimes up into Gatlinburg, usually 3 or 4 times a year, maybe even more. By the way, if you haven't been back up to Gatlinburg since the wildfires of November last year, that was November of 2016, I believe, it's still a gorgeous place. It really is. Shortly after the wildfires, we took a trip up there, as many people from our area did, and it's still a beautiful place. It's a terrible thing that happened. Really, really sad, and very frustrating if you know the details of the story. But Gatlinburg's still a beautiful place to visit. A lot of neat little shops and restaurants, some neat distilleries if you're into that. It's a neat place to visit if you've never been. I still very much recommend checking out Gatlinburg, Tennessee. But anyway, as far as the Knife Works, which is located in Pigeon Forge, and really it's kind of on the outer limits of Pigeon Forge. Really, it's closer to Sevierville, I guess. But at any rate, a lot of neat stuff, friendly people, neat place to visit. When we decided last Sunday that we were going to go, we had actually just finished having lunch with some family, and my grandfather was there. I've talked about him a lot on the channel here, and I told him I was going, and I asked him if he would like me to take his pocket knife to get it sharpened for him. Both my grandfather and I are knife enthusiasts. We have pretty respectable collections. Both of us love, especially the Spyderco brand, but neither of us really ever learned how to properly sharpen a knife. Yeah, we know the basics, and if I had to, yes, I could sharpen a knife that was just completely dull. I could get a little bit of an edge on one, but if I'm going to spend, $100 or more on a knife, I'm not going to try and sharpen it myself and potentially just ruin the blade. I'm going to take it to a professional and have them do it for me. Yeah, eventually I'd like to learn how to sharpen my knives, of course. It's a little bit embarrassing, you know, to admit that I don't know how to really sharpen a knife properly. But for now, that's how we do it. And so at any rate, I told him I was going to the Knife Works, and I said, if you like, I'll take your pocket knife up and get it sharpened for you. And he said, yeah, please do. So this is his Spyderco that he carries every day. This is, I believe, a second generation Endura. Some things you can tell right off that are different between a first or second generation and current. You know, this is like a fourth generation here, Delica. The grips are different. Okay, you can tell just side by side. This is what they refer to as the volcano grip. And I don't know with this second generation Spyderco, I don't know if they had a special name for this grip other than it's just FRN, which is fiberglass reinforced nylon. They're both FRN materials, but the newer models, a lot more grip, okay, a lot easier to get a hold of. Okay, this one's a little more slippery in the hand, you know. It's not bad, but you can definitely feel a difference. He also takes the pocket clips off of his knives, so this one doesn't have the pocket clip on it. You can see down here around the lanyard hole, it's a different design, where the pocket clip would have been originally. And the biggest difference is once you open the knife, you can see the steel. This is, if I can get it to focus, ATS 55. I've never owned another blade that the steel was ATS 55. I really don't know much about it. I know that this is the knife he carries on him every single day. He's a retired electrician now, and you know, he's as well as a retired carpenter, and so, you know, his knives see a lot of wear, and I know that he's not had much trouble keeping an edge on this knife. So while I don't know much about ATS 55 steel, I know enough to know that it must hold a pretty good edge, because it's not super often that he has to have this sharpened. You can see quite a bit of wear on the blade there. This is not a full flat grind. This is the saber grind. Okay, so it starts about halfway down, maybe not even quite halfway down the blade there. Just kind of an old school Spyderco. It's got some nice wear on it. I think it looks pretty slick. You know, Spyderco did not always put the their logo. You can see the little spider there on my Delica. They didn't always put it on their blades. So you can tell that this older one doesn't have any kind of digital marking. And something else that's interesting, the only place this knife actually says Spyderco is right there on the blade. That's it. It doesn't say it anywhere on the grip. Okay. If I can get it to focus here. I don't know if you can see that or not. It actually says Clip It Endura. Okay. Clip It Endura. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to focus. So anyway, just kind of some differences between the first generation and the later generations. So anyway, took the knife in with me and browsed around for a little bit, and then headed downstairs where they have the sharpening station. Now, this is as of late July, early August of 2017. When I went downstairs, I didn't see anybody behind the counter down there where they have the sharpening station. There was one employee kind of walking by, and I asked him, I said, you know, excuse me, when might I be able to get a pocket knife sharpened? And he said, oh, sorry to tell you, he said, our machinery down here is currently down, and we don't have the ability to sharpen any knives right now. It kind of caught me off guard because I thought, you know, world's biggest knife store, you don't expect them to say, we can't sharpen a knife for you. I suppose I understand it, but it took me a little by surprise. And so I asked the employee, I said, okay, well, when do you think you might be back up and running? Thinking he might say, you know, oh, it may be another 3 or 4 days, or maybe even a week or two. He told me December. Yeah, December. And so I basically just, you know, didn't really have I was kind of struck for words, you know, I didn't really know what to say. I said, oh, well, all right, thanks anyway, and just kind of sauntered off. So if you see this video and it's pre-December 2017, don't go to Smoky Mountain Knife Works thinking you can get your knife sharpened, because apparently their sharpening system is down. I didn't ask for any details because I didn't really care. He said, no, we can't sharpen it. I said, okay, thanks anyway. So anyway, more about the store. My wife and I, we walked around. You can spend an entire day in this place. It's huge. They've got a lot of other accessories that are not just for, you know, outdoor stuff. Down in the basement, one room over from where they have the sharpening station, they've got a huge kitchen supply area full of lots of, well, basically anything you would need, basically, for your kitchen. Big stuff from, you know, like skillets and cast iron pans and things like that, all the way down to, like, the smallest little, you know, custom salt and pepper shakers and little things like that. It's a neat place, it really is. But what really surprised me about this trip was when we went back upstairs, a few minutes before we were about to leave, I wanted to go back over and look one more time at the Spyderco display, which is right there at the front of the store. And I stood there for a few minutes looking at this Delica, this purple Delica. And as far as coloration, I now own one of every color Spyderco offers. Now, I don't own each color in each knife, but I think at this point I now own every color they offer, except for blue. I don't have a blue Spyderco yet. But, and if they do, I'm not really sure. If they do like some limited time colors, you know, I don't have any of those. But just as far as the generic colors that you can pretty much always get year round, I think I have them all now except blue. Purple, green, brown, orange, black, gray. Oh, no, wait a minute. I lied, because I don't have a gray one. So blue and gray are two that I don't have. Anyway, saw the purple Delica, handled it for a little while, and I thought, yeah, you know, I'd really like to pick that up. I love that purple coloration. Maybe some of you guys out there thinking, oh, I don't know if I'd ever carry a purple knife. Hey, that's fine with me. You just leave it there. I'll come pick it up later. I think it's a beautiful color. And, man, you talk razor sharp. Typical for Spyderco, VG10 steel. Just a great steel. Great knife. Nice size. Fits well in the hand. Just a great knife. The thing that surprised me was while I was standing there talking to the salesman behind the counter about this purple Endura, because he went to see if they had one in stock, and in fact, this one that was laying in the cabinet was the last one they had, and so we were talking about that. And the way things work when you order stuff at KnifeWorks, you don't carry around your purchase, unless it's, I think if it's maybe less than $20, they'll let you carry your knife around with you that you're going to buy. But for the most part, if you go to the KnifeWorks to purchase a knife, they give you a ticket with a number on it, and they walk your knife up to the register for you. Okay, they ask you which door you came in, and each door has a corresponding register, and so basically you can make your purchases they'll carry it up there for you. You can keep walking around without anything in your hands, which is kind of handy. Pun not intended. Sorry. And basically, when you get ready to leave, you go back up to the register, and you know, they have your knife waiting there for you. While he was writing my ticket, my wife came over and said, "Oh, hey, I've got something I want to add to that." And I said, "Okay." And I guess I was thinking, you know, she's found something. I guess non-knife related that she wanted to add to the ticket there. And what surprised me was this is what she was picking up. This is the Spyderco Ladybug. All right, if you don't think that's adorable, you're crazy. Okay, that is a sweet, sweet, sweet little knife. Teeny tiny. Ladybug, pretty appropriate name for this little thing. She had actually, when we were looking around in the Spyderco cabinet, she had kind of expressed an interest in this little knife, and I truly didn't think she was going to pick it up, and here's why. After we left the knife works, we were planning on going down the road and stopping at the Tanger outlet shops. Okay, in Pigeon Forge, there's the Tanger outlet shops. It's a shopping center. And it's, you know, it's probably 50 shops, maybe even more, all in one central location there. And she loves that place, loves it. And so I thought, well, she's definitely minding the budget with the thought of going to Tanger, and you know, that's where she's gonna do her damage. I was blown away when she basically said, I'd rather pick up this little Spyderco than go spend, you know, this much more at Tanger. Now I'll tell you, this little Ladybug, it still comes with the Spyderco price tag. Okay, this is every bit of $50, and the reason why, if it'll focus, probably won't. Boom, VG10. Okay, same steel in this as what's in this. Okay, that's a adorable little knife, and I definitely was not going to say anything to her about wanting to purchase a Spyderco. Traditionally, she's always carried a knife, but she tends to like Gerber, and I think that's fine. You know, I think as long as she's willing to carry any kind of a little pocket knife on her, I think, hey, that's great. She's always liked Victorinox and Gerber, but this was her first Spyderco. And I thought, well, that's awesome. You know, there's a little cut right there from handling a knife the other day. Anyway, I was definitely excited that she was interested in buying a Spyderco. And so we left the Knife Works the other day with 2 purple Spydercos. Kind of the his and hers collection, I guess. Something else that I noticed before we left the Spyderco counter, like I said, this is called the Ladybug. Spyderco offers a knife called the Man Bug, and I had never heard of that. I never heard of it, never seen it. Matter of fact, if someone had told me that was a thing, I probably would not have believed them. But there's basically a knife that they offer that's smaller. It's smaller than the Dragonfly. It's bigger than the Ladybug. It's not right between the two. It's still closer to the size of the Ladybug than it is to a Dragonfly, but it is a little bit bigger than the Ladybug. They had a Man Bug in burnt orange that was a really, really neat looking little knife. Like I said, I was more interested in the purple Delica, but that little Man Bug they had was a nice looking little knife. If you get the chance to check out Smoky Mountain Knife Works anytime soon, make your way over to the Spyderco display and see if they've still got one in stock of the little Man Bug in burnt orange. See what you think about it. If anybody out there happens to own one, or if you purchase one, do a video response, because I'd love to see what folks have to say about that. So anyway, kind of a longer video here, but I just wanted to tell you guys about our little experience we had there at the Knife Works, and it's pretty typical. Like I said, you know, they've got a lot of neat things, mostly knives. Recently, as of a few years ago, they've started carrying firearms, both handguns and long guns, and a decent selection. Not great, but a decent selection. I'll say the prices on the firearms are not impressive at all. They're pretty much what you'd expect at a knife store. But right behind Smoky Mountain Knife Works is Bud's Gun Shop, which is, I think, like maybe the world's largest gun shop. So you go to the world's largest knife shop, then get in the car, drive 30 seconds, go to the world's largest gun shop. Hey, top it off with you know, some hot wings and a cool beer, and sounds like a good day to me. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Kind of a funny little video about my wife starting to get the bug herself. Sorry, terrible. At any rate, hope to make a couple more videos here within the next couple days. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, maybe think about subscribing. I'm trying to get some more videos out before summer's over. Got a couple ideas coming on that are not necessarily related to knives and firearms. I've got a couple other interests that I'm thinking about maybe featuring here on the channel. So we'll see how that goes. At any rate, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.